Hi there guys, and in this video we're going to be trying to process through Pixinsight and Photoshop an image in say 10 to 15 minutes. So this isn't going to be really detailed. This is just kind of how I initially process my images that come out, so I get something that's good enough to post to my Instagram feed and things like that. It's maybe there could be more processing done to bring out some more of the details if you wanted a really high quality image for a print, but in general this is how I go about editing things. So I'm going to try and keep this short and show you how to edit using Pixinsight and Photoshop in say 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to be working with the Thor's head nebulae that I captured last night, so we open it up here in Pixinsight, and the first thing I'm going to do is give it a screen transfer function stretch. Now I'm going to make sure I have linked turned off. I don't want to link the RGB channels, otherwise I end up with a horrible green hue here. So I have that turned off, and we click this little radioactive button, and there we go. So there is our screen transfer function stretch. Now you can see that Deep Sky Stacker has lined up the image for us, and my camera orientation or rotation was a little bit different from one image to the next. So from one night to the next. I recorded this over 2 nights, and I don't have an automatic rotator. So when it slewed automatically in sequence from one target that I had framed up like this to Thor's head, it came out like this. And that's okay. I know anyway that this nebula is relatively small in the middle of the image, so we're going to have to give this a severe crop, but that's fine because we're not really cropping out anything interesting other than stars. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is open up a dynamic crop, and we will crop this image so that we can keep the Thor's head, but try not to lose too much. So we can adjust this like that. We bring this side in and down from the top. So it's up to you how you're going to kind of frame this, or how you handle this type of situation. I want to keep it somewhat centered, so I'm probably going to crop it something like this. Okay, that's good enough, and we'll hit enter. Okay, so now we have our cropped image. Next, I'm going to run the RC Astro Blur Exterminator. This is really useful for sharpening up your stars. I'm just going to decrease the effectiveness of this a little bit, and we will run this, and that's just going to sharpen up the stars there. You'll see it just creates them a little bit more pin-like, a little bit sharper stars. So once I've run that, next thing I'm going to run will be a script called Gradient Expert. So we're going to run this Gradient Expert script, and we run this, and what this will do is this will just help to get rid of the gradient in the background of the image. So if you had say clouds that passed over, or if you're shooting near a light source and things like that, it just helps to even out that background. And then the next thing we will do is background neutralization, and we will run this on this target here. Okay, let's turn off our screen transfer function and stretch again. Okay. So now we're done with that, I'm going to run the RC Astro Noise Exterminator. Again, I'm going to turn the power of this down to about 45 from the default. This will just remove a little bit of the noise that we've got in the image, help clean that up. And now I'm going to run Star Exterminator, also from RC Astro. And for this, we're going to select Generate Star Image and Unscreen Stars. And what this will do is it will strip out all of the stars from the image, and it will put them onto a separate image. So then we'll have 2 images, or effectively 2 layers they're going to end up as in Photoshop, one with the stars and one with the nebulae only. So let's work on the nebulae only first. We'll minimize the stars, we'll come back to those later. So here now is our starless nebulae Thor's Head Nebulae there. And what we're going to run next is a generalized hyperbolic stretch. So this is another plugin. It's free, unlike the RC Astro ones that you have to pay for. And we're going to first of all choose linear, and we're going to drag this across until we see our low clip start to change. So the low clip value here, we don't want to be clipping any data, so we want to drag this across so it's still 0, but just before it starts to begin to clip, which would be there. So that's where we're going to have this. Oh, we'll turn off our screen transfer function. Don't need that right now. And okay, so now we go ahead and run this. Now we reset it, and we're going to this time run a generalized hyperbolic stretch. Now before we do that, you'll see here in the middle of this gray peak, this is where all of our RGB channels are overlapping. We're going to click in the middle of there, we get this yellow line, and we click send to SP, send to symmetry point. Okay, now we're going to drag this across, and you'll begin to see our stretch being applied there. Now we don't want to go too far, otherwise we're going to end up with too much noise. So we're going to, as a first stretch, bring it about this far. Now you can change the local intensity, you can decrease this, which allows you to stretch a little bit more. So that just takes out a little bit of the detail in some of the highlights and allows you to just stretch a little bit more. Okay, so once we've done that, we will apply it, we reset. Now you can go back to the linear and drag across again. We don't have any space. It always starts to clip pretty early, so no need to adjust that for the black point anymore. Now we can run one more generalized hyperbolic stretch. This time we're going to click somewhere over to the right of the image, send to symmetry point, and we run our stretch again, and that will just bring out a little bit more of the detail there in those highlights without over doing the background. Okay, so we'll apply that. And now we are done with our nebulae. We'll close the preview. There it is. And we'll go ahead and save this. And I usually save this as Nebula, Thor's Head Nebula. And this is going to be a TIFF file and a 16-bit TIFF. Okay, so we save that. And now we are done with the nebulae. So we can close this. Close the window. Yes. All right, now we'll go over to our stars. And we'll turn off the screen transfer function, and we're just going to open up our hyperbolic stretch again. No need to do the linear this time. We just go straight to the general hyperbolic stretch, no symmetry point to set. We just drag this across until we see the stars coming out. Now the further we drag this, the more and more stars we will get. I'll turn on our preview, sorry. Now we don't want to get too many, and I don't want to blow them out, of course. I just want to bring out some of the colors that we've got there in those stars, and a little bit of the halo, so we'll probably bring it about this far. Okay, that's about enough for me. That's as much as I want my stars, and we'll apply that, close our preview, and we are done with the star layer. So we'll go to save as, and this will be saved as Thor's Head Stars. And again, we save this as a TIFF, 16 bits. Okay, so we are done now in Pixinsight. We're going to head over now to Photoshop, and we're going to go to scripts and load files into stack. Now we'll go and find those two files that we just created, which is from the 31st of January, the stars and the nebulae. So we open both of those, load those into the stack. Now it's going to open up a new Photoshop image, and it's going to have both of those here. Now we'll drag the stars up, we want that at the top, and now we're going to put that into a folder or a group that we'll call stars. We drag the stars into that group, and we change the blending mode to screen, and you'll see now that's now recombined our stars and nebulae. Okay, now we'll open up another one here, which we will call nebulae, and we drag Thor's head into there. Now, there's not a whole lot of processing that needs to be done to this from now on, to be honest. Sometimes, like with the rosette nebulae that you see here, I do a little bit more. You can see here there's a little bit more involved, and we've got some kind of masks that we've used to bring out some certain areas. But with this one, I don't think we're going to need to do quite as much. So we'll turn off the stars layer to start with, and we'll select our nebulae layer, and we go to adjustments, and I'm going to go to levels, and then on the RGB we're just going to drag these across a little bit, and this will just help to set our background black point to be a little bit darker. Okay, once we've done that, we will then add another adjustment layer, which will be curves. We'll go to the red, and now you can begin to add a little bit more stretch than what we had in Pixinsight, and you've got a little bit more control now over the kind of colors that you want to bring out of this. Okay, so I'm going to increase a little bit there and here on the red. On the green, we'll also bring a little bit of that out, but not too much on the background there. Now, there we go. And on our blue, I'm going to nudge that up a little bit at the top there, and at the bottom here a little bit also. Now we'll go back over to our levels channel. Actually, I'm going to add in another levels adjustment here. We'll just nudge in the red a little bit, and the green, and the blue, and that will just help to get that background a little bit darker again. And you can see here we've got the detail here in Thor's head nebulae there. There's the horns, the helmet, kind of face there, and the beard. So you can begin to see now why it's called the Thor's head nebulae. Now we're going to add another adjustments layer, which is going to be a vibrance layer. So we're going to increase the vibrance a little bit and the saturation a little bit, and then I'm going to add a channels layer. Is it gone? Channel mixer, and here we will adjust a little bit, bring out some of the greens, bring out a little bit more of the blue there, increase the red slightly. Okay, and then on the green channel, bring out a little more green. A little more red. On the blue channel, there. Okay, so you can really play around with this just to get the kind of colors that you want, the color tone that you're aiming for. Now I'm done with this. What I will do, I hit Shift, Command, Option, and E. Okay, that's quite a long shortcut. That's what it is on the Mac. I think it's Shift, Alt, E, something like that on a Windows machine. Okay, so we created a layer stamp. Now we've got this here. And the next thing that I am going to do now is go over to my filter, and I'll go to sharpen, and I will sharpen. So that will just sharpen and bring out a little bit of the details. And then I'm going to go to filter, I'm going to go to noise, and we're going to go to reduce noise. Let's zoom in on our nebulae there, and now we can adjust this as to how much noise reduction we want and how much we want to sharpen the details. So I'm going to increase the sharpen details area. See, if we move that back, it gives us a softer image, but the higher up we bring this sharpen details, the more defined it starts to become. You see that there? Now we don't want to over sharpen it, but we also don't want to have too soft an image either. So there we go. I'm going to do that, and we run that, and that will just bring out a little bit of the details there. Okay, so now I'm pretty much done with our nebulae, and we'll turn on our stars layer. Not a whole lot I need to do with the stars layer here, really. It's already looking pretty good. You might want to play with the opacity if you want the stars to be a little less bright. You could bring down the opacity of those stars a little bit. Now what I can see here on my stars layer is a few artifacts that have not been removed when we did Deep Sky Stacker. So I'm going to select my star layer there. I'm going to grab the heal brush, and we'll change the size a little bit, and we'll just heal those, and you'll see there we'll get rid of it. Now we need to turn off our nebula layer. I just want the stars layer only. And we run the heal brush again, and that should fix it. There we go. Now we just have a quick look around. Are there any more artifacts like that maybe we want to get rid of? I don't see. I see a blue one down here. Get rid of that. And I think we're good. See any more I want to get rid of there? Okay, so that's it. Decrease the opacity of that again slightly, and there we go. There is I think we've kept this under 15 minutes. There's our kind of very quick edit, but you know, the output's pretty good already, you know, and this is only I think an hour's worth of data, so you can imagine if we started off with better data as well, this would be even better. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how this has come out. So thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you found this video useful, and don't forget to follow along at nixastrophotography.com.